Joining opens through a broad doorway. Leaving can become a maze. That contrast reveals the hidden design immediately. A few taps and payment details can begin a relationship that continues beyond tonight. Later, the service may feel familiar while your memory of using it has quietly faded. Meanwhile, the calendar advances, carrying the arrangement forward without demanding another decision. So the ordinary question is simple. Why did entering require less effort than leaving? Because renewal is built as a conveyor, moving ahead unless someone deliberately interrupts it. The first click does more than purchase access. It opens a repeating payment path. That path depends on continued permission. The original authorization remains useful after the initial moment. As long as the account remains open, another payment can pass through at the scheduled time. A single purchase ends with delivery. A subscription keeps the service available and billing active. This pattern is older than apps, appearing wherever sellers continued service unless customers stopped it. Earlier clubs could send goods repeatedly, leaving members responsible for declining future shipments. That arrangement is called a negative option. Silence is treated as acceptance of another delivery. Defaults matter because the easiest route often becomes the route people follow. The sequence is authorize, continue, renew, and repeat, with interruption assigned to the customer. Renewal waits quietly while work, errands, and family life occupy attention elsewhere. Businesses value recurring arrangements because future income becomes easier to plan around. A single sale ends its uncertainty. Continuing customers make demand less dependent on tomorrow's choices. The same logic moved from mailed products into digital access, memberships, and services. Instead of receiving a box, customers often rent a key that works month after month. Joining, using, and leaving are separate moments, and each can receive different design attention. Joining usually feels light because the immediate goal is clear: begin using the service. Leaving can feel heavier, requiring account searches, settings, confirmations, and sometimes waiting. Each additional step creates another opportunity for hesitation before the next renewal. The first click therefore hides the larger arrangement. Access today, payment later, cancellation by request. Digital menus inherited continuation practices from older forms, even though the delivery became invisible. A trial can become paid access, followed by another renewal, unless its timing is remembered. The customer must locate the deadline, understand it, and act before the next charge. As time passes, a passive choice becomes an active task with a shrinking window. The beginning is displayed prominently. The ending may sit backstage among administrative controls. Consider one evening. At home, a small invitation offers access with little apparent consequence. The opening screen emphasizes a welcoming action, while secondary details demand closer reading. One bright path draws attention, and less convenient alternatives recede from immediate view. Entering payment details converts interest into permission for future transactions. The trial begins now, while automatic renewal waits quietly beyond the visible moment. Immediate value occupies attention, making the later calendar date feel distant and abstract. Days pass without another prompt, because continuity is the default behavior. A busy week can bury reminders beneath groceries, messages, work, and ordinary obligations. Then the stored card completes the next payment, often before the service returns to mind. Only afterward does joining speed become visible beside leaving's navigation. The search begins in the account, where the relevant control may not be obvious. Purchase and cancellation can occupy different corners, despite governing the same relationship. A settings screen creates delay by making the customer locate the correct administrative path. Pause may appear before cancellation, offering a temporary solution that feels less final. A discount or alternative can arrive precisely when departure becomes the customer's goal. Confirmation screens ask again, turning certainty into another moment of reconsideration. Eventually, the final action stops renewal, and the conveyor begins to slow. A confirmation message matters because it provides evidence that the future charge has ended. Nothing obstructed entry, while obstacles accumulated around the exit. The ordinary subscription was not one decision, but a designed sequence extending through time. That convenience can produce different consequences for people using the same arrangement. Small recurring charges may blend into household background noise rather than announcing themselves. Access continues whenever attention fails to interrupt the renewal loop. Remembering every service, date, and payment creates unpaid administrative work at home. Frequent users may reasonably trade money for convenience when access repeatedly earns its place. Distracted users can instead pay for access they have forgotten to revisit. For regular use, recurring payment can remain a sensible exchange for dependable availability. For rare use, that same convenience may become quiet waste stored among and used services. Businesses benefit when customers remain enrolled because retention supports continuity after acquisition. Customers gain access rather than permanent ownership, so the relationship depends on continued payment. Leaving can cost attention that entering never required, creating an exit toll measured in effort. That effort affects people unequally. Free time, confidence, language, and digital access all matter. Across households, individually minor oversights can accumulate into a broader pattern of loss. Design distributes convenience and resistance unevenly, even when every screen appears technically available. The burden lands differently depending on household budgets, routines, responsibilities, and available attention. Some people mainly spend money. Others spend scarce time monitoring what money is doing. Every renewal can transfer another piece of administrative work from the business back home. Flexible schedules make searching and canceling easier because the task can fit somewhere. Busy households postpone it, not necessarily from carelessness, but because urgent tasks arrive first. Postponement transforms a small decision into another recurring cost. When retention is the stronger objective, household balance may receive less design attention. Fairness begins with symmetry. Entry and exit should be comparably understandable and reachable. Joining may take seconds while leaving requires searching, a difference worth examining rather than normalizing. A forgotten charge behaves like background leakage, quiet enough to escape immediate notice. Renewal often arrives after attention has moved to work, family, or another ordinary concern. Billing remembers automatically. Cancellation depends on people remembering what billing will not forget. A visible option is not necessarily an equal option if one direction receives clearer guidance. The difference can be studied by counting screens, turns, delays, and decisions between the two outcomes. One tap can therefore create a chain connecting permission, calendar dates, cards, receipts, and future charges. Different services may produce a similar experience because similar incentives shape their interfaces. The evidence shifts attention from personal memory alone toward the arrangement surrounding that memory. Repeated obstacles leave traces of incentives, even without proving anyone intended harm. A useful fairness test asks whether both directions receive equal clarity, care, and control. Convenience gathers momentum after the decision, carrying the arrangement downhill through ordinary time. The familiar monthly charge begins to look less like a fact and more like an engineered outcome. A bill records a relationship, what access was offered, what permission continued, and who acted. The overlooked calendar mark becomes evidence of how attention was assigned inside the arrangement. Design reveals priorities through what it simplifies, highlights, delays, or leaves for customers. A subscription is convenience shaped into infrastructure, connecting ordinary habits to recurring financial movement. This is built into it. Subscribe, and we'll uncover another hidden everyday system hiding in plain sight.